What up, YouTube? It's your boy Detroit Love with another video. Today we're going to show you how we made this cabinet totally outlet free. Take it anywhere you want, put it anywhere you want, and play to your heart's desire. And this thing will run for days, literally. Let's check it out. So with this mod, you're no longer limited by where you can plug this thing in. You can simply just take it and place it wherever you want, and you're good to go. Good to play. 1-2 players, don't matter, because you have your own electricity with you. So let's take a look at what was done, because this is no longer needed. So this is the totally freestanding Miss Pac-Man Countercade, modified to have his own power. And so let's take a look at it. So how this thing works is we have this power bank, and this power bank, we have this additional cable. The links to both items are in the description. Now this cable as is will plug directly into the printed circuit board, the PCB. So to have this inside, you would just simply unplug the cable that is normally plugged into the PCB, unplug that and plug that in. So that's if you want to use it inside. If you're going to use it outside, so you know the outside cable has a different interface. So let's take a look at utilizing it outside of the cabinet. So this kit, this cable comes with all these different adapters, and the smallest one will plug into see if I can do this one-handed. So that will plug into there. So if the battery's mounted on the outside of the cabinet, then you would have the original cable plugged back into the PCB. Okay, so that's plugged in. On the outside, you would just use this adapter. So again, this is all that's needed inside, is the battery and this cable. But if you're going to have it outside, then you need this adapter in between it, and this comes with this cable as well. And then you can plug this straight into here. Of course, I don't have my stand. All right. So you plug that in, and you see it has power and it's powering up. So if this was outside the cabinet, you could, you know, just sit it like that and you're fine. And then when you want to use the power cord, you would just unplug this adapter and then plug that power cord back in. So you can have this mounted some kind of way on the outside, or simply sit it down. So I would suggest, but again, it's your mod, you do it how you want it. I would suggest that this be mounted possibly inside there where you'll have access. You still be able to lift it up as the handle, but still have access to the power cord, because the power button will be right here, or to the actual cord. You can mount it such, I mean, and again, this thing has tons of life on it. You want to be able to have access to the you'll have access to the charging port, the port to plug that in, and the power button. Or you can unplug and replug that back in. But if that was mounted inside, approximately right there, that would still give you access to hit the power button, or unplug and plug, and also give you access to the charging port for the battery. So there's only one issue, and it's a pretty big issue, about having this kept inside. And that is, once it's turned off, once the battery goes to sleep, it won't come on by itself. So you would have to have access to this power button to turn this back on. So if I press that, press and hold, there you go. You got the number there. So it's on, and so then it'll come on. So while this is doable to be stored inside, it's just not practical, because then you have to keep opening the door up to turn it back on. If once you turn it on and play, it'll play indefinitely. As long as it's receiving power from something or charging something, in this case it thinks it's charging it, it'll keep applying power and it won't go to sleep. But once you turn the device off, then it'll go to sleep after an undetermined amount. Let's see if we can find out how long that takes for it to happen. So that's just how this particular battery works. I mean, there's other batteries that probably will continue to drain from the battery even if the unit itself is off. So that's just something to be aware of. But also note that if you turn this device on, so if we turn this on, so it's on, and so it come on automatically because it's on in the on switch. This thing will not turn itself off, so the cabinet will run indefinitely until the battery drains completely. So you're talking about hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So if you was to take this somewhere where people would be playing it, as long as you don't turn off the cabinet for any extended amount of time, well, I'm sorry, not extended amount of time, if you don't turn it off for more than 33 seconds, then it will stay on. So there's no need to, turn it on and off. You're not using power wherever you are, whether you're indoors, outdoors, at someone else's place, it doesn't matter. You have the flexibility to keep everything locked up so nobody's meddling with anything, keep the device on, and play it for hours and hours. So obviously, you wouldn't be able to keep it inside and have access to charging it. So it comes with a micro USB, but it also has a USB-C port. They only give you the cable for the micro to charge, but you can use a USB-C, which will allow it to charge a lot faster than the micro. So you have those two options to charge. There's actually you can charge two things. So if you were playing Miss Pac-Man, you want to charge your phone, you can do that as well if you had this thing on the outside. Now, you do have some options for powering this thing back up though. Like I said, the unit is off, and if you turn it on, it won't come on. See, the light's not on, and the unit won't power without hitting that button. So wherever you put this at, you have to have access either to this button or the ability to unplug this and plug that back in. So if I pull it out and then put it back in, you see it powered up. And so the unit will power up. So really no different than what we do like with, say, our Raspberry Pis. You might have to mount this and then cut a notch out of your board so that you can have access, to that core, have it in just far enough, or you want to have it where you can see the power level through your little hole. And the only thing about this, you'd have to have it on this side probably, so that you can have access either to this power button or to the cable, and they'll go all the way in. So it's inside the cabinet. You can open a slot where you can just unplug that and plug back in, and also give you access to the charging port if you want to have it stored inside. So there's some options there. Otherwise, you just have to have some way where it mounts outside. When the battery is charging, it will blink until it gets to 100%. So this is at 100%. And we're just going to let it run. We'll play games, but we're just going to see how many hours it give it. This thing's literally got to take a whole day to deplete, if not more. But we'll see. So we will just let this thing be in a game for as long as it can, just to see the duration it takes to deplete this battery. At least to get an idea of how many hours will go by versus how many ticks of the completion percentage will deplete with those hours. Okay, so this thing's been running for a few hours here. It's finally got to 90, so it's depreciated by 10%. This thing's been running constantly. This thing is cool as a cucumber. Not hot at all. Hey Google, how much time on the stopwatch?
It's at 4 hours, 45 minutes, and 24 seconds and counting.
4 hours and 45 minutes. So do the math. 4 hours, 45 minutes. It only went down 10%. So you're looking at over 44 hours that this thing would run. So unless you are some type of marathon player, world record, high score getter, you will have no problem. So it's totally self-contained. Everything is inside, so the battery's inside, and you always want to have a plug. There's two different ways you can do this. There's a bunch of ways to do it, but I'm going to present two different ways to do it. This one's where the battery's inside, and so the external cable is for charging that battery. That battery has a lot of life with it. Let's go inside. So the battery is just secured to the back of the board. The regular power cord is secured to the inside because it's not needed for the solution, but you don't want to misplace it. And the cable is plugged directly into the PCB. The battery is positioned where it is so that the cables miss that H board when it's closed, and then it also gives you the ability to put your hand in here and press the power button to turn the battery on. And then this cable is just strictly for charging the battery. So in this scenario, you see the cable there on the ground in the upper left corner. That would normally be plugged there into the PCB. So it's not used in the solution, so it just sits in the cabinet. The other piece of that cable is just tied up here. It also has the adapter for the external option. So again, this is the total internal option where the battery is secured. The charging cable, which is this white micro USB, not micro USB, that's a USB-C cable. It comes with a micro USB cable, but the USB-C is a much faster charging option. So have this cable there to charge that. Now, you don't have to have this cable here, but you know, it just gives you access and it's not in the way. And you see that the normal cable is just secured out of the way because it's not needed. All right, so let's take a look at the external mounting option. So this is the external option. And with the external option, everything is contained outside of the cabinet. Now obviously that's optional to have it here, but that strap is there to be able to contain that cord just in case this battery dies when you're out and about. You can just unplug that and plug the plug back in. So you can see the indicator. You cannot see that when you're using the internal method. But so these two straps has a purpose with both the internal and the external solution, just to keep the cords bundled up. And in this scenario, the charging cable is not part of the solution because you have access to both the micro USB and the USB-C cable there to use this cord or any other cord. You're not restricted at all to the access to these ports. So you don't necessarily have to keep this. So you wouldn't keep this on that strap inside because you would have to open it up to get to it, right? So, I mean, you could strap both of them there, but that'll start to look a little tacky at that point in time. But again, this is the back of the cabinet. Doesn't really matter. If somebody's playing the game, they're not going to see that at all. They would have to go all the way onto the back to see that. So again, just an option. I mean, again, you don't have to do any of these things. You can just simply plug it into the back and sit it on the counter. But securing it just gives it the ability to be moved around without risk of damaging, breaking, tugging on cables and that type of thing. So again, love it or hate it, use it or not, it's just options. As modders, we just look at what our options are. Some of these options are going to be for some people, and it's not going to be for other people. But at least you at least know now that it's possible and is done very simply with just a couple of parts. Now, I chose a 30,000 milliamp battery because that's going to give you a lot of time. So as you saw, you'll get about 44 hours or even more. That's a long time. So, and you have, you'll get way more time from that if you're turning it off, right? With the external and internal method, when you turn it off, this battery is going to go off in 30 seconds or so. And so that battery is not draining when it's not in use. So you can play for 5 hours and not pick it up for a month, and start playing again for another 10 hours and not use it for another month, and you would have not had to, you see the power went off, you would have not had to plug it in at all. So this gives you a lot of other uses. You know, you might have this in your camper, right? Or you want to use it in the backyard, or you're just simply putting it in the ideal location to play, whether sitting down or standing up. And you don't have to worry about finding a cord or outlet or looking for an extension cord and having trip hazards around the house, because your favorite spot is not conveniently located near a power outlet. So let me know what you guys think about this. Is this something you would use, that you would do to your countercade? Now I'm thinking, would this power up my regular arcade downstairs? I can try that. If you guys are interested in seeing that, let me know in the comments. And again, when you turn this on, it's not going to come on until you turn the battery on. So you hit the button there, the little light comes on, and now you can turn this on. Real simple process. And I'm sure they have batteries that, as long as something's plugged in, it's going to continue to give out power, and so you wouldn't have to do that. But those batteries may just drain even when you're not using the item, right? It's plugged in, it'll keep supplying power even though this thing is turned off. You know, that's the trade-off. Having the button to conserve battery is a great thing. It goes off in 30 seconds. If you turn this off and turn it back on, within those 30 seconds, it's going to come back on. But once the battery itself turns off, then you'll have to turn it off with that button. Again, either you're pressing the button or you can unplug and replug that cable. That'll do the same thing. So that's it. It's not a whole lot to it. Pretty cool. So when the battery is mounted on the outside, you can very quickly and easily go from using the battery to using the cord. So you just plug this into the wall. Plug that into the wall, and then you would just simply unplug the cable from the adapter. So you can leave that bundled in there, and then just plug this in. I'm sorry, wrong way. Leave this on there, but then plug it into this piece, which goes into the case. So you just plug that in there, and you're using the plug on the wall. So if I unplug, let's get both in the shot where you can see the corner of the screen and the plug. So if I unplug this, it's going to turn off because you're actually using the plug. So that's just how easy it is to jump between the two. To get back on, you would just simply unplug this piece again and plug that into there. You saw the power come on, and so now the power is going to come back on. And then, well, we want to just make sure this is through here, just so it's contained a little better. So that's connected there, and then you just bundle this cable back up and put it back onto its storage hook there. Easy peasy cover girl. Not sure why that's all crazy. Wind this up however you want to do it. Put this in here any way you want to do it. And this just feeds, oh goodness. This just feeds up through this little loop here, this little tab. Pull that up, pull it tight. That's all you got to do. Anybody can do this mod, and anybody can switch between battery and AC and DC with no problems. Come on, orange guy. Bye-bye. Level 1 mod, anybody can do it. You don't have to have any technical skills. You just need to know how to use a screwdriver and open that up if you're doing internal, to buy the necessary parts, and to use some very simple tools. These are for the mounting your cables, and if you're doing an internal, you would use some Velcro like this. If you're using the external, you're just using some cable ties to mount that, and that is it. Not difficult at all. Anybody can do it. So I want to give a big thanks to JD Fan 01. He made this mod possible by suggesting it in the comments. So thanks, JD Fan 01. Appreciate you commenting and suggesting this and making this happen. And you guys, if you like this mod, give a special thanks to JD Fan 01 in the comments. Hey guys, thanks for watching, and I appreciate you. Please comment below. What do you think about the Countercade? Do you have one? Do you think about getting one? And subscribe if you hadn't. We're trying to get up in the ranks with YouTube, and if you're not commenting, if you're not subscribing or liking the video, it just doesn't help at all. So I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you guys commenting, subscribing, and liking the video. Hey guys, until next time, I'll see you on the web.